The end of January to the end of August is a very, very, very long time. All right, it's the off season. We gotta find stuff to talk about. So, with that being said, welcome to the Nuke Zone, and I gotta talk about one thing, I guess, today. Way, 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 way too early national championship outlook. Okay, which teams are set up to get there on paper here in February? I'm not saying these are my picks, whatever, blah blah blah. These are just the ones that stand out to me here in February, just looking at the paper on what they could be. All right. Gone are the days of Alabama and Georgia. Just be like, right here, right now, we're going to pick those two teams. One of them will win it. And I mean, chances were you probably were right for a few years there. All right. They've dominated college football, but those days are gone. All right. The Big Ten has won the last 3 national championships. Times are changing. NIL, the portal, they have changed everything. And with all that being said, I'm going to start this off with the SEC team, but it ain't Alabama or Georgia. They'll be later. It's the Texas Longhorns. Okay. Everybody was going, they're not doing anything, not doing anything in the portal. Why aren't they doing anything? And everybody's leaving. All right. Yeah. I don't think that matters. Not anymore. No. You traded DeAndre Moore and Parker Livingston for Cam Coleman, who I think was possibly the best player in the transfer portal. All right. Okay. So there's one. All right. Then you trade CJ Baxter and Wisner for Hollywood Smothers, the big time running back from NC State, and Malik Brown from Arizona State. I think you upgraded there. All right. LaFau leaves, Ant Hill goes to the NFL. Bam, you get Rasheem Biles. Like, you also add Melvin Siani, you add Bo Masco. This team is very dangerous. Okay, they are very, very, very dangerous. They have the skill positions. I think they improved on the offensive line. All right, you get Gooseby back, who I'm very high on. You bring in Melvin Siani, I'm assuming to play right tackle. I'm going to assume Baxter slides in the guard. Offensive line improves. Arch Manning continues to take that step, and I did think he got a lot of unwarranted Heisman, all this and that. Like, he hadn't proved anything. All right. And the start of the year was rough. I don't put that on Arch. This offensive line was bad. Just turn on the Florida game, man. Florida was sending 4 or 3 with a spy or a little sim pressure, and they were eating him alive. This offensive line couldn't block him. And I think that contributed to a lot of Arch's struggles. And towards the end of the year, you saw Arch really start turning on. The offensive line started playing better, and they looked very, very good towards the end. All right, you saw what they did to Michigan in the bowl game. I know it was a bowl game, but yeah. All right. And with these weapons, you got Cam Coleman. I mean, he's a top 10 pick in the NFL draft come next year, more than likely. All right, you got Ryan Wingo, elite playmaker with speed, dude. Emmett Mosley, and that's not even counting Fleek Lockett, Dalen McCutcheon. If they can take those steps to be more play more basically. All right, you've got your backfield improved. I feel like Smothers was solid at NC State. Malik Brown is a big play just waiting to happen. And it all goes back to offensive line. They've improved this Texas offense. It's absolutely dangerous. That's scary, man. I mean, but their schedule, it's not the easiest. I won't lie. You get Ohio State early, okay? You get a tune-up game versus Texas State. Then you get Ohio State. Then you get Ole Miss at home. You get those two at home. That helps. All right. On the road, though, you got to go to Tennessee, LSU, and A&M. Those are 3 hostile environments. Regardless of how the teams are, those are 3 very hostile environments. And anyone who knows SEC football knows that home field advantage is a very real thing. Okay. And having to play in those 3 environments is tough. Very, very tough. And this Texas team is set up to succeed even doing that. All right. They can go into those 3 places and win. They can go at home and beat Ohio State and beat Ole Miss. This is a very, very talented team. And I expect them to do big things. And I would be shocked if they don't. All right. But yeah, Arch is in for a big year, I think. Because at the end of the day, if something ain't working, throw it up to Cam. Hand it off to Smothers. Like, you have all the weapons in the world to make something happen. And you got Will Muschamp running this defense now. This Texas team is very dangerous. Okay, moving on. This is a team that almost got there. They were right there. They just couldn't get it done because they got blown out by Indiana in the semifinals. That is the Oregon Ducks. Man, dude, they bring it all. I mean, they're bringing back tons of production. Dante Moore, the quarterback, he probably would have been a top 5 pick. At least, at the minimum, the third quarterback picked in the NFL draft, more than likely. He's coming back. That is big for Oregon. All right, they bring back the whole D line. They bring back possibly the best freshman in the country in Brandon Finney Jr. I'm not saying he is the best. You got Malachi Tony. There's a lot of people. Brandon Finney was excellent for Oregon as a freshman corner, man. You bring back the wide. You got DeCorian Moore. Evan Stewart's coming back. I know we didn't see him this year. He's coming back. He's a big time playmaker when he's healthy. All right. Jamari Johnson, like this Oregon team has tons and tons and tons of talent. And then you add Coy Parrish to that. And he's one of my favorite players. The dude can play. All right. And you replace Steeneman with him. You bring back Flowers. They have weapons everywhere. They're loaded. All right. And they were very young and they saw what they did. And now, I mean, health is going to play a key factor. But at least at the quarterback position, you have tons of interest because you got Dylan Raiola as your backup. And that's huge to me. Is it risky? Absolutely. Okay. What if Dante Moore gets hurt? Raiola comes in, he loses starting job, and then Moore's draft stock just got tanked, and he could have went top 5 possibly. But they don't care because they want to compete, they want to win, they want to develop. And I love that Moore came back. I love that Raiola is going to come in and be the backup and compete. Okay. Dan Lanning is building something here with that Nike money, man, and he's just so close. He's getting so close, and this could be the team that gets him there. All right, but they do have to go through USC on the road, Ohio State on the road, but you do get Michigan and Washington at home. Okay, those are, I'd say, the 4 games that stick out for me. USC is going to be tough. I'm not going to lie to you. I think they're there yet, not yet, but they're still going to be tough. They're going to give a lot of these Big Ten teams a run for their money. Put it that way. Ohio State, it's Ohio State. We're going to talk about them later. Going to the shoe, man, that's tough. But this Oregon team, just like Texas, is set up to do it. They're battle tested now. I mean, you bring back all these guys who just made a deep playoff run. It could be something special for Dan Lanning and company now. All right. The next Big Ten team. Can they do it back to back? Indiana Hoosiers. Coach Cignetti, can you keep the magic going? Who would have thought Indiana would be in these talks 5 years ago? I'm talking about national championship contenders. I got Indiana. They're one of the first teams I'm talking about. Can they get the same type of production out of this year's team? Can you get that Mendoza jump from Josh Hoover? Josh Hoover was an excellent quarterback at TCU, air raid system. He can sling it. Now he comes over to this Indiana. It's a QB friendly system, one read and go. I think he could have a really, really lot of success. And that was terrible word choice. I think he could have a lot of success in this RPO system, man. And then you bring in probably one of the most underrated portal additions in Nick Marsh. Nobody's hardly talking about it. The dude is uber talented, and now you add him with Josh Hoover. You add him with this Coach Cignetti team and system. It's going to be interesting, man. How well do they replace what they've lost? And I think they did it pretty good. And this coaching staff is excellent. Listen, Google him. Remember? Yeah, the dude's done nothing but one. He's developed Indiana. Can you repeat? That'll be very interesting, man. Notre Dame. Notre Dame, man, you're loaded. You're just simply loaded. You lose Jeremiah Love, Jarian Price, absolutely, but you are still loaded. CJ Carr, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, in my mind. He's going to take another big jump. Okay, your schedule. You have one of the easiest schedules in the country. You have 2 tough games, honestly. You got to go to BYU. That is going to be tough. All right, and you get Miami at home in November. Your offensive line. That's where your question marks might be, and your offensive line is always good. Notre Dame usually always has a good offense line, so I'm not even going to doubt it. All right, you have a great coach in Marcus Freeman, and also I get the whole they dropped out of the ball game, crybaby, blah blah blah, all that. You got a chip on your shoulder if you just got left out of the playoff, man, because you lost your first 2 games and then you won 10 straight. Did you win 10 hard games? No, not really. But talent-wise, this Notre Dame team, they could have been there. But you lost the 2 games versus 2 teams that were in the playoff, and they had the tiebreaker on you. Simple as that. Like, in my eyes, they did it right. They put the right teams in with what they were given. But now, it's a new story. Notre Dame has a real possibility to go 12-0. Okay, at the worst, they're 10-2, barring injuries and all that. I got a feeling they could be undefeated because the schedule is easy. I've already laid out your only two tough games. SMU, maybe throw that in there. Syracuse, maybe you ain't got USC no more. You don't have to go play A&M this year. It's Notre Dame team, and they got the pieces to make it happen. Secondary, everywhere. They're really good football team. All right. So don't be shocked if they make a run. All right. Georgia, obviously, I got to throw in Georgia, man. You play OU at home. You got to go to Bama. You got to go to Ole Miss, and you got to go to South Carolina. Okay, that's a tough little road stretch right there. I mean, Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina, those are tough environments to play in. All right. I mean, it's hard to find an environment in the SEC that's not tough, but those are definitely tough. Alabama, they could be. I mean, can they take the step with Keelan? Anyways, Georgia, I mean, you bring back Stockton. You got a really nice team, and you bring back a lot. How does it perform? I guess versus this schedule. I mean, 9 SEC games is going to be tough. Like you're seeing it across the board. Texas has Tennessee, LSU, A&M just on the road. Georgia has Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina. Don't sleep on South Carolina now. But it's Georgia. You always revert back, but it's Georgia. We felt like they've had down years the last 2 years, and that's honestly true. They had 2 down years for Georgia. And you know how they ended? They won the SEC, back-to-back SEC championships in down years. So I'm never going to count out Georgia until they give me a reason to, and they haven't yet. Even when they are not playing to the Georgia standard, they're SEC champs. So Georgia's going to stay on this list for obvious reasons. Next up, Ohio State. How could I leave them off, man? I mean, you were the presumed number one team all year until you played Indiana. And then you played Miami, got whacked too. But this schedule's tough for Ohio State. I won't even lie. Not entirely tough, but you got to go to Texas, to Indiana, to USC. You get Oregon at home, you get Michigan at home. Those are 5 losable games. I mean, you could be one of the best teams in the country and potentially be 7-5. That is tough, man. And Texas, they're looking for redemption. Indiana, if they can just reload and attack the same way they did, I mean, that's tough. USC, I'm telling you, they're going to be better than what they've been. Oregon, we already talked about Oregon. And then Michigan, I mean, you got over the hump last year. Can you just go back to winning versus Michigan? That is going to be the main thing. You got to keep beating them. You got them at home. You got Julian Sayin back. You got Jeremiah Smith back. You got Bo Jackson back. And you are so good at recruiting and talent development, you can replace what you lose like you always do. Same with Georgia. Okay. With this Ohio State team, man, can they reload and do it again and better this time? That'll be the questions. All right. Teams that could sneak in or like on the cusp of being national championship type teams, but are they there yet type teams? Okay. First up, Texas Tech. They're going to run the Big 12. Look at the schedule. Very good chance, just like Notre Dame, they are 12-0. All right. The portal has been their best friend, and they reloaded. They had a D line of Bailey and Romello Height last year, along with Lee Hunter. So what do? You go get Trey White, Adam Trick, and I'm sorry if I butcher your name, but Ibaragua. But I'm sorry, I can't say it. Anyways, they get 3 of the top defensive linemen in the portal. Just reload and do it again, man. And then I think you upgraded at the quarterback position with Brendan Sorsby over Brandon Morton. And that's not even mentioning all the other guys. When Coach McGuire said the Big 12 runs through Lubbock, I totally agree now. Okay, you proved your point last year, and now I think it's going to become a thing. The Big 12 is going to run through Lubbock, and there's a very good chance they're 12-0. If they're 12-0, they probably are top 4 seed. Okay, how does that set up for them going forward in the playoff and the bye and everything? Indiana is the only team to win off a bye, but they're set up very nicely. Okay, don't sleep on Texas Tech. Ole Miss. Did you lose a lot of pieces in the portal? Absolutely. But right now, the one little kicker is Trinidad Chambliss is probably going to be playing for your football team coming the fall, and he might just be the best quarterback in college football, especially during that playoff run. He was doing. I mean, I'm just shocked that he came back. I would have went pro if I was him. Okay, because the film speaks. Like he's not just one read and go. He's reading the defense. He's making check, and he's slinging the football. Man, dual threat. He is dangerous, and he's what makes this Ole Miss team very dangerous. Because he can make the plays happen. He can elevate the play of the guys around him. Pete Golding, first year head coach, and I really like him. He's aggressive. He knows the game very well, and he deserved this moment. Now he has it. Can he lead Ole Miss to the promised land, so to say? He got really close. I know he took over in the playoffs, but he still got very close. Okay, I mean you're a Hail Mary away from going to national championship. Simple as that. And now his probably the one of the funnest games coming up. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, LSU and Ole Miss. That's what we're getting at. Okay, they're gonna play each other at Ole Miss, man. And before we get to LSU, Ole Miss does have to go to Texas, as we said earlier. They got to play Georgia at home, and you got to go to OU. Those are 4 tough games, 4 losable games. But now we'll talk about LSU. All right, Lane Kiffin, what can you do in year one? You totally revamped this team. I think they had 40 or 41 incoming transfers. I mean, you had a lot of guys leave too. But the guys you brought in, you bring in Sam Levitt. You got your quarterback, okay? And you got the insurance with Husan Longstreet, who is excellent, okay? The dude could be really good. I know he wanted to play early, but he's in a good spot with Kiffin. All right. Now, I'm not even going to rule out him possibly playing, okay? But I'm going to lean. I mean, Sam Levitt's presumed starter, and he's a big time playmaker, okay? You bring in Jordan Seaton, one right there with Cam Coleman on being one of the top players on the portal, okay? You retooled the wide receiver room. You retooled the O line. Prince Will Umle, I can't say that name either, okay? You bring in Prince Will. We'll stick with that. You completely retooled this team, and a gigantic but, this schedule is not easy whatsoever. Okay, so is the talent there for LSU? Absolutely. Will the system change and all that be there? We shall see. But the schedule, it's all there. It is all there. Versus Clemson, everybody, Clemson, yeah. Hey, I'm not wrapping off Clemson yet. Okay. Versus you get A&M at home, you get Bama at home, you get Texas at home. That's the plus side of it. You get them all in Death. You get those 4 teams in Death Valley. That is the plus side of all of this, because Death Valley does things to people. I know A&M made it Kyle Field East last year, but it still can do things to people when the environment is right. And you know it's going to be rocking. First year coach in Lane Kiffin wins a few games. They're going to be out there loud. It's going to be Death Valley, as you know it. All right. But you got to go to Tennessee and to Auburn, 2 very hostile environments. All right. Neyland, Jordan Hare, they get the people. 6 losable games, 6 winnable games. Okay. The season rides on these games. I'm kind of pointing out. If you can win those games, there's a very good chance you are in the driver's seat of anything, your future. Simple as that, man. LSU, they can get through that tough stretch. I mean, you get them at home. That is a big thing. You get those tough teams at home. How do you perform with that, man? Oh, well, going to another team that has to go to Death Valley, Texas A&M. All right. I think this defense could be special, but I think the season rides on this offense, man. You've retooled the offense line. Can Adam Cushing do it again? Because when he came in, this A&M offense line wasn't the best. They had tons of talent, but they weren't good with Jimbo Fisher in those last years. And then Adam Cushing comes in, same players. You add Armaj Reed Adams, added one guy for the most part, and Coley. Add them, and then you had a very much improved offense line. So now you're basically doing it again. You bring in Tyree Adams, Cohen Eccles, Wilkin Formby, Javon Ball. You're bringing in those 4 guys to keep with Martin Abu. Can he get that same type of production flip again? Okay, because those 4 guys came from offense lines that weren't the best. Okay, South Carolina had the best offense line. LSU absolutely did not have the best offense line. Alabama was here and there. Okay, Wilkin Formby played right guard, played right tackle. He's probably going to play right tackle for A&M. All right. They all had the body types. They all had the talent. Can Adam Cushing get the most out of them? And if he does, this A&M team could be very dangerous, because if he gets the best out of them, I believe Marcel Reed could take a step. I mean, we saw a big jump from his first year battle or his redshirt freshman year battling Wagman throughout the year, all that, and then last year his first year starter. And you saw, I mean, it was a jump. Was it the best thing ever? No, but he did take a gigantic jump from year one as a starting QB to year two, basically. All right. And now we're going into year 3 or 2.5, whatever you want to call it. Can he take another jump? All right. And if he does, this A&M team becomes dangerous because this defense could be very special. All right. I think they will improve versus a run. But you got to go to LSU. You got to go to Alabama, to South Carolina, and to Norman, Oklahoma versus the Sooners. That is a tough 4-game road stretch that these teams are clicking. All right. But the bright side of all this, there's a very good chance you are 6-1 or 7-0 going into the Alabama game. All right. Because your last 5 games before that, so say you beat LSU on week 4 and you're 7-0. Now there's a very good chance you could be 7-5 at the end of the year. Okay. Because you got to go to Alabama, to South Carolina. You get Tennessee at home, at OU, you get Texas at home. Those are 5 very losable games. I mean, the floor for this season, I would say, is 6-6, but it could be very, very good. It just depends on, I think, how that offense line. That offense line is good. Marcel Reed takes a step. This Aggie team is dangerous, but it all depends on that, honestly. Okay. And the last team I'm going to talk about is a team that beat A&M out of the playoffs. All right. And that's the Miami Hurricanes. Another team with a very favorable schedule. You got to go to Notre Dame and to Clemson. That's basically it. We got some conference games in there, obviously, but those are the only two that stuck out to me. And really, it's just the Notre Dame one, potentially. You got to go play them in November in Notre Dame. So, but you get Darian Mensah, one of the best quarterbacks in the portal after that whole fiasco. And like I said, favorable schedule. You lose a lot of dogs, I won't lie, but you're just in the national championship. You've recruited well, developed. Mario Cristobal, I think you could have this team cooking. They're probably, I'd already say the ACC champ if I had to pick one today. All right. But that's all I really got for you. And now this is February. This doesn't mean a dang thing. All right. This is way too early. All this and that. We're just reading the paper right now. Okay. I mean, who knows who's going to get hurt in spring camp, who's going to get hurt in fall camp, how teams are come August or September, October, who's healthy in October, because a lot of things ride on, man. Like you could be one of the most talented teams in the country, lose your quarterback, lose your left tackle, lose your top wide receiver, bam, you're nothing now. Okay, you're 8-4, but you were top 10 when the season started. Those type of things can happen, and I totally left out Alabama. Wow. Okay, I left out Alabama just because there are a lot of unknown, but I love their quarterback, Keelan Russell. Is going to be a stud in my eyes. Listen, the Duncanville standout. He has the receivers there. Okay. This Alabama team could be very good. Just left them out. Okay. But just know I'm still thinking about you, Crimson Tide. All right. But that's all I got for you today. It's going to be a long off season. I cannot wait till week 0. Long countdown. But thank you for tuning into the Nuke Zone.